Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 3 of August 2025. As Narendra Modi visits China, partnership deals between Indian and Chinese companies face delays. China is carefully vetting technology transfer terms impacting sectors like appliances and auto components. Higher stake sale in its Indian unit is held up. PG Electro Plus compressor project also faces delays. These hurdles affect Indian firms reliant on Chinese technology and components. India is planning a major GST overhaul. The new system will have just two tax slabs, 5% and 18%. This aims to boost the economy and offset tariff threats. Common items will be taxed at a lower rate, leading to price cuts. The goal is a single tax rate when India becomes a developed nation. Global trade tensions have accelerated companies' efforts to diversify supply chains, and India is becoming central to ICAI's sourcing strategy. ICAI plans to expand beyond textiles into plastics, metals, and furniture manufacturing in India. This local sourcing will help reduce prices for Indian consumers and boost exports. Taiwanese electronics giant Foxconn's Bengaluru factory, its second largest manufacturing unit, has commenced operation with production of iPhone 17 recently at a small scale. Foxconn is the largest manufacturer of iPhones and the second biggest facility outside China in Devanahalli near Bengaluru, being set up at an investment of $2.8 billion or Rs 25,000 crore. Foreign investors offloaded Indian equities worth nearly Rs 21,000 crore in the first half of August, pressured by US-India trade tensions, lackluster first quarter corporate earnings, and a weakening rupee. With this, the total outflow by FPIs in equities reached the Rs 1.16 lakh crore mark so far in 2025. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs is inviting proposals to conduct a third-party study of its Corporate Data Management or CDM scheme, which converts company filings on the MCA 21 portal into a tool for policy making, regulation, and research. The study will assess the scheme's effectiveness, relevance, impact, and user satisfaction while also analyzing its security and access control mechanisms. The request for proposal would evaluate the scheme's impact, identify operational and strategic gaps, and recommend measures for its long-term sustainability. The Income Tax Department is investigating US investor Jane Street. It has summoned EY, Jane's auditor in India. The department seeks details about Jane's Indian operations. They want to know who controlled the trading and where instructions originated. The tax office suspects tax avoidance through Jane's India, Singapore, and Hong Kong entities. SEBI may have prompted the tax probe. Credila, formerly HDFC Credila, plans to secure up to $600 million in foreign loans post-IPO. Discussions involve DBS, MUFG, and SMBC. The funds will be raised via external commercial borrowing. The loan is marketed at 135 to 150 bips over SOFR. Credila's financing base has expanded significantly. Offshore borrowings now constitute 18.4% of its total debt. iPhone maker Apple India has leased around 2.7 lakh square feet of office space in Bangalore for 10 years with a starting monthly rent of Rs 6.3 crore. The company has taken multiple floors including car parking space on lease from real estate firm Embassy Group. The iPhone maker is estimated to pay more than Rs 1,000 crore in rent, car park and maintenance charge over a period of 10 years. The starting rent of the premise is rupees 235 per square feet per month and made a deposit of rupees 31.57 crore. The rent will escalate 4.5% every year, thereby leading to a total payment of over rupees 1000 crore. The ICAI, through its Auditing and Assurance Standards Board or AASB, has issued FAQs on Management Representation Letter to guide auditors on SA 580 requirements. It clarifies the purpose, evidential value, and implications of management representations while outlining auditor and management responsibilities. The document also provides illustrative templates, formats, and a compliance checklist, serving as a practical resource to enhance audit quality and strengthen documentation. The RBI has released draft regulations on guarantees under FEMA 1999 for public comments. The draft proposes a principle-based framework where guarantees in cross-border transactions will generally be allowed under the automatic route, provided the underlying and resultant transactions comply with FEMA. Further, the scope of guarantees under the automatic route is being expanded, with comprehensive reporting of all guarantees issued and invoked being introduced. Reliance Consumer Products acquires majority stake in Nature Edge Beverages, maker of Shunya functional drinks. The JV will scale health-focused beverages, expand into new categories, and strengthen Reliance Consumer Products' fast-growing FMCG portfolio, now nearing Dabur and Tata Consumer in revenue. Aurobindo Pharma has emerged as the frontrunner to acquire Prague-based generic drug maker Zentiva for $5 to $5 billion from Advent International. If successful, this will be the largest ever acquisition by an Indian pharma company, both at home and abroad. PE firm GTCR only is the other contender. India is strategically aiming for a 10% share of the global green hydrogen market by 2030, targeting exports. The nation has already awarded substantial green hydrogen production and electrolyzer manufacturing capacities to multiple companies. Recent global tenders indicate green hydrogen is becoming economically competitive, fostering international collaborations, particularly with the EU, to advance the sector. OpenAI is targeting the Indian market with ChatGPT Go, a cheaper subscription. It costs Rs 399 per month. This offers more access than the free tier. India is a key market for OpenAI. They are customizing services for Indian users. UPI payments are now accepted. Competition is increasing from Gemini and Perplexity AI. Housing finance companies face challenges. Public sector banks aggressively price mortgage rates. This squeezes HFC margins. Loan dispersals grow, but AUM doesn't keep pace. Borrowers are shifting loans. Bajaj Housing Finance saw a profit decline. LIC Housing Finance also feels the rate war. Competition is intense, impacting even large players. Margin pressure is expected to continue for a while. Kotak Investment Advisors, via its Kotak Realty Fund, is set to invest Rs 1,000 crore in KVN Properties, a land aggregation platform. The investment, structured in 2 tranches, will fuel KVN's expansion plans across major metros, aiming for 10 million square feet of development potential by financial year 26. The Reserve Bank of India has released draft regulations on guarantees under the Foreign Exchange Management Act or FEMA 1999, seeking public comments. The proposed framework is designed to simplify and rationalize the rules governing guarantees in cross-border transactions. Under the new draft, guarantees in cross-border transactions will generally be permitted under the automatic route. This relaxation is subject to the condition that both the underlying transaction and the resultant transaction comply with FEMA. Russia's increased oil supply to India has reshaped trade dynamics, impacting smaller suppliers, while major Middle Eastern exporters like Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and UAE remain largely stable. Discounted Russian crude primarily displaced costlier supplies from Africa and the Americas. As India potentially reduces Russian imports due to US pressure, sideline suppliers may regain importance. Honda Motor Company Limited is expanding its presence in India. The Japanese auto major has established Honda Finance India Private Limited. This subsidiary will provide retail sales financing. Customers can avail loans and lease options for Honda products. The company will apply for an NBFC license. This move aims to strengthen Honda's business in the growing Indian market. Indian microfinance companies are focusing on cleaning up their balance sheets. They are writing off bad loans earlier to improve their financial health. Credit Access Grameen, Fusion Finance, and Muthoot Microfinance are among the companies adopting this strategy. Fusion Finance has even revised its write-off policy. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs, or MCA, has notified the company's Indian Accounting Standards Second Amendment Rules 2025, introducing several important changes across multiple Ind AS standards. Key updates include new disclosure requirements for supplier finance arrangements under Ind AS 7, which is Statement of Cash Flows, and Ind AS 107 Financial Instruments Disclosures, enhancing visibility of financing structures involving suppliers. Additionally, amendments to Ind AS 1, which is Presentation of Financial Statements, and Ind AS 10, which is Events after the reporting period, clarify the classification of liabilities subject to covenants, ensuring consistency in presentation and reducing interpretation challenges. The amendments also align revenue and lease-related references across Ind AS 115, which is revenue from contracts with customers, and Ind AS 116, which is leases, with international practices, thereby harmonizing interpretations. Further, transitional reliefs under Ind AS 101, which is first-time adoption of Indian accounting standards, have been updated to support companies migrating to Ind AS, easing compliance burdens during the initial adoption phase. Welspun One Logistics Parks, part of Welspun Group, on Wednesday announced the acquisition of 2 plots of land totaling 107 acres near Bengaluru, including 51 acres land in Hoskote and 56 acres land in Devanahalli. Both the plots have a development potential of 2.25 million square feet. The 2 new projects mark the expansion of Welspun One's South India presence, taking its regional land bank to over 260 acres across Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. The Securities and Exchange Board of India has released a consultation paper on the implementation of eligibility criteria for introducing derivatives on non-benchmark indices. As per the circular, indices must meet certain conditions to qualify for derivatives. These include having a minimum of 14 constituent stocks, a maximum weight cap of 20% for the top constituent, and a combined weight cap of 45% for the top 3 constituents. Additionally, the index must follow a descending weight structure for the remaining constituents to avoid concentration risks and ensure adequate diversification. Foxconn subsidiary Yuhan Technology has reportedly sent back approximately 300 Chinese engineers from its India facility, marking the second instance of such recalls. This action coincides with a period of thawing relations between India and China. Beijing has also requested a report from Foxconn's chairman regarding the company's investments in India, raising concerns about potential impacts on Foxconn's operations. Flipkart and Amazon are in discussions with brands regarding the potential impact of the proposed GST reduction on demand. The e-commerce giants are concerned that consumers might delay purchases, especially of high-value items, anticipating lower prices. While festive sales will proceed as scheduled, platforms are preparing for a possible surge in demand later, urging brands to maintain sufficient inventory. The Central Board of Direct Taxes has amended its earlier instruction issued under Section 84 of the Black Money, Undisclosed Foreign Income and Assets and Imposition of Tax Act 2015, or called BMA 2015. The purpose of this amendment is to provide relief to individuals who may have inadvertently failed to disclose minor foreign accounts or assets due to oversight or lack of awareness. The Act substituted the proviso to Section 42 and 43 of the BMA 2015 and clarified that these provisions shall not apply to an asset or assets other than immovable property where the aggregate value does not exceed rupees 20 lakhs. The centre is considering a major restructuring of the GST rate slabs, proposing to move a majority of goods and services from the 12% bracket to 5%. According to government estimates, this rejig could result in an annual revenue loss of nearly rupees 80,000 crore. Officials indicated that the shortfall will be partly offset by retaining the highest GST slab of 40% on demerit and luxury goods such as tobacco, cigarettes, aerated drinks, and high-end automobiles. With the cess merged into GST, these categories are expected to contribute significantly to maintaining overall revenue. Wipro on Thursday announced that it will acquire the Digital Transformation Solutions or DTS division of US-based Harman for $375 million, aiming to strengthen its artificial intelligence-driven engineering services portfolio. Under the deal, more than 5,600 employees from the DTS unit across the Americas, Europe and Asia will move to Wipro once the transaction is completed by year-end, pending regulatory clearances. Harman is widely recognized for audio brands such as JBL, Harman Kardon and Infinity. Several firms are vying to acquire Axion Labs, a software product engineering company. The deal could value Axion Labs between $800 million to $1 billion. TA Associates and True North Partners currently hold a majority stake. JP Morgan is advising on the potential sale. The tech services market attracts private equity due to high growth and digital transformation. The United States government has acquired a 10% holding in Intel, and this marks one of the most striking federal interventions in a private company since the 2008 auto bailouts. US President Donald Trump announced the agreement on Friday, describing the deal as a great partnership for America and for Intel. Intel has struggled in recent years to build out more chip capacity and has fallen far behind rival Nvidia. India's private hospital industry has undergone a major ownership shift over the last 5 years, moving steadily into the hands of global private equity firms. The trend has reshaped the country's over $80 billion healthcare market, which was once dominated by government institutions and family-run setups. While sporadic private equity deals in hospitals date back to Apex Partners' investment in Apollo Hospitals in 2007, the COVID-19 pandemic marked a turning point. The sector has since attracted sustained interest from funds such as Singapore's Temasek and US-based TPG and KKR, leading to large acquisitions including Manipal and Max Healthcare. The Reserve Bank of India has released draft norms on counterparty credit risk for banks functioning as clearing members in exchanges. These norms apply specifically to banks involved in equity and commodity derivative segments, which are inherently subject to higher market volatility. The proposed norms incorporate higher risk weights for instruments with longer tenor and higher volatility, such as commodities and equities. This reflects the principle that exposures in riskier asset classes and those with longer maturities carry greater uncertainty. By requiring banks to allocate higher capital against such exposures, RBI seeks to safeguard the financial system against potential losses arising from counterparty defaults. EV maker Ola Electric on Friday said its shareholders have approved a special resolution to allow the company to vary the objects of its initial public offering and extend the timeline for the utilization of these proceeds. In the scrutinizer's report filed with stock exchanges, it showed that 99.09% of the votes cast by the company shareholders were in favor of the resolution, with only 0.9% voting against it. The approval would indicate that the Bhavesh Agarwal-led firm can now redirect proceeds from its public offering to more urgent or strategically important areas. Avatron Ventures, founded by Priyanka Madnani, former founder and CEO of Terex Ventures, and Akash Deep, has closed its Rs 2,000 crore fund, which will invest in startups aiming to go public within the next 5 years. The fund, which is structured as a multi-asset category 3 AIF in Gift City, has a consortium of limited partners across the UAE, the USA and Japan. These include family offices, institutional investors and ultra-high net worth individuals.
This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.